We are reconvening our meeting of August 8th, 2024, and we will begin with our Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence. Please stand as we honor our nation's flag. Thank you. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow. All right. It's so fitting that we have athletes here. My moment of silence it has to do with the Olympics. And so the oath is, in the name of competitors, I promise that we shall take part in these Olympic Games, respecting and abiding by the rules which govern them, committing ourselves to a sport without doping, without drugs, in the true spirit of sportsmanship, for the glory of sport and the honor of our teams. And so, as we strive for excellence in our school district, I encourage each of you, staff, students, and employees, to embrace a spirit of collaboration and unity, much like the athletes in the Olympic Games. Let's move beyond working in silos and instead come together as one team. By respecting each other's contributions and working collectively, we can better support our students and uplift our community. Our shared commitment and teamwork will drive us to achieve great results and create a thriving educational environment. Let's work together with respect and dedication, celebrating our collective success. One moment, please. All right, thank you. And now we move to item 5.3, our closed session report by Clerk of the Board, Jessica Guerrero.
Thank you. 4.1, no reportable action taken regarding public employee performance evaluation, superintendent. 4.2, the Board of Trustees unanimously approved the settlement agreement with student by providing additional reimbursements related to the settlement in OAH case number 2021-010585. 4.3, no reportable action taken regarding existing litigation. 4.4, no reportable action taken regarding anticipated litigation. 4.5, no reportable action taken regarding negotiations. 4.6, the Board of Trustees unanimously voted to make the following appointments effective August 9, 2024. Allison Conrad, Program Administrator 1. We can applaud. Lorena Stout, Program Administrator 1. .7, the Board of Trustees unanimously voted to make the following appointment effective August 9th, 2024. Joanna Peters, Assistant Principal, Anaheim High School. Congratulations, and that concludes the closed session report.
Thank you. Joanna Peters, would you care to come up to the podium and introduce yourself and say a few words? Bravo.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Executive Cabinet, and Superintendent Matsuda. I just want to start by saying that history lives at Anaheim High School. And with that spirit, that's how I plan to serve in this new role. And I would also like to take the time to just reaffirm the promise that I made to you 2 years ago when I was appointed as a junior high assistant principal. On that day, I said that I would love and serve this community to the best of my capacity. Today, I'd like to reaffirm that for you and say that I will do that as well at Anaheim High School. And lastly, I would like to thank everyone who has supported and had a lot of faith in me along the way. It has really meant a lot to me, all the mentorship and everything that I have received in order to be here today. Thank you.
Everyone here supporting Joanna, could you please stand? I know there's Anaheim contingent. That means you. Bravo. Thank you. All righty. Okay. All right. I just would like to welcome everyone here. We do have some distinguished guests that we'd like to also recognize. Jeff Morgenstern, ASTA President, is here. Heather Huttner, President of CSEA, is here. We thought we might have spotted Lacey Munger and Brittany, oh, there she is. Brittany for APGA, co-presidents, yes. Jennifer Sasai, Alta President. Jackie Rodarte, trustee of North Orange Community College District. Laura Allen is our secondary PTA president. And also Henry Hua, dean of Cypress.
Vice President
Sorry.
of Fullerton College.
There you go. My apologies. Vice President of Fullerton College. Henry Hua. Welcome. All right, and we're going to move on to some recognitions.
All right, so it gives me great honor to bring up, I think Coach Williams, are you here? I know there's a lot of people out there. All right, Coach Williams, there you go, right in front of me. So, come on up. So Coach Williams had the privilege and honor of coaching our Division VII, I believe, CIF champions for baseball last spring. Coach, I don't know if you want to be able to introduce your players, and we'll have you guys take a picture with the board in honor of your fantastic accomplishment. You can talk a little about the season.
Sure. I would like to talk mostly about the season. 2 years prior, starting 5 freshmen, we started the season 0-18-1, so it took 20 games for us to get our first win. We started freshmen at catcher, second base, shortstop, third base, and center field that year, and it was a long year for us. We only won 1 non-league game. We were fortunate enough to make the playoffs that year. The following year started 4 sophomores and 2 freshmen, and made the playoffs once again. We bowed out 2 years ago to Tustin, who was a semifinalist in the first round. Last year we lost to division champion Castaic, and I'm really proud of the boys for sticking with it, enduring a lot of adversity. I think they grew up a lot as individuals, and we, I think, returned enough players with varsity experience to have a successful year. I don't think we played our best ball until the end of the season in the playoffs, but we got really hot at the right time, and it was a real team effort. I don't believe anybody stood out individually, but the contribution across from everybody allowed us to be successful. We led every game in the playoffs from start to finish until the finals. We got down 1 run in the bottom half of the inning. We took the lead 2-1. In the top of the 7th, we gave up 3 runs. We were down 4-2, and then scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th to win. And so it was, an amazing season for us, and I'm really proud of the effort that the boys put in and the growth that they showed and their willingness to battle through adversity. So, guys, go ahead and go up front and receive a round of applause.
All right.
Brian, would you put your chair in?
Yeah.
Dave, come on up.
Coach Clifton.
All right, so we want to get everybody's name, so I'm going to point to you and shout out your name. Okay, is that all right? All right, go ahead. Carter. First and last. Say it again.
Carter Senglock,
All right.
Key Tran, Xavier Lopez, Jude Kidd, Zachary Padilla, Aiden Fantasco, Mariano Lopez, Barry Spicer, Oscar Zepeda, Logan Lavoie, Sortawa Suzuki, Matt Dietmar, Ethan Loya, Joshua Loya.
All right, bravo.
I'll ask him as soon as he comes back.
So she can introduce herself.
Are they juniors this year or seniors?
Seniors. First stage, we have one more athletic team that we want to recognize, our swimmers. So we have the swim relay team. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's awesome.
thanks, guys. Congratulations. Did I hear a repeat?
A lot of things went our way, so we're blessed. Sitting in the parking lot waiting for us to finish practice. You guys always showed up to games.
One more.
You want us to
one
stay
more.
up there?
So we have one more team that we want to recognize who also, from Oxford, won the CIF championship in the spring, and that is the relay team. I think it's a 4x100 or 4x400 relay team from Oxford. So I think Coach Wynn is here from Oxford Academy as well. Coach Ashton Wynn, would you come up and introduce your athletes?
Hi. Okay, my first athlete is Sean Quintero. Second athlete is Matthew Lee. third athlete is Hunter Hua. And last but not least, Nathan Lee. Okay. So these boys won the CIF champion title for the 4x100 freestyle relay in Division 2.
Congratulations, coach. Good job. Good job. Yes.
Again, thank the parents, because without you sitting in the parking lot and going to all of the meets, these guys were
Good job, guys. Hunter, park in the right parking spot.
It worked. It's good. Make it work.
Coach, if your athletes want to stay, they're welcome to. Sorry. If they want to stay, they're welcome to. Please don't have to stay. We're going to begin.
Okay, and without objection, I'm sure, from the board, we're going to move on to our items 9.3, 9.4, and 9.5. Naming of the facility for Sue Hall. Thank you, everyone. And forgive me, we have a speaker. Forgive me mispronouncing the name. I apologize. Ian Savala. Oh, Ian. Hello. Welcome.
All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Board of Trustees, District Cabinet, Superintendent Matsuda, and community members. My name is Ian Sabala. This is the start of my 25th year at Kennedy High School. This is my first year without Sue Hall, who retired in March. Sue is not with us today because she is rightfully enjoying herself in Mammoth. So I'm here to speak to the naming of the facilities. So first and foremost, I do want to thank the Board of Trustees and District Cabinet for recognizing the hard work and dedication of the individuals that are on this agenda, because each and every single one of them deserve this honor of naming of facilities after them. I just want to speak really quickly to some of the accomplishments that you see in the agenda. Twice Sue was honored as Orange County Coach of the Year and also State Coach of the Year in 2002. She achieved 4 trips to CIF finals, winning 2 titles and CIF trips all 17 seasons of her Kennedy career. She was in CIF all 17 seasons. Her head coaching lifetime record was 369 wins, 104 losses, and 4 ties, averaging over 22 wins per season and ultimately being named to the CIF Hall of Fame in 2004. Sue has been one of the most influential females on Kennedy's campus for over 30 years, whether it be in her PE classes or on the softball field. She has been the face for all of our girls' athletics and a mentor to those around her. Her legacy isn't just recognized at Kennedy, but it's also recognized throughout Orange County. Kennedy softball and Sue Hall go hand in hand. You can't associate one without the other. A true legend, naming the field after her will assure Sue an unlimited legacy. So thank you very much for even considering this. Thank you.
All right, and I believe Sue is watching. All right. So this is a naming of the facility. This is an action item.
So moved.
Second.
I moved and seconded. Excuse me, the Board of Trustees requested to approve, then rename the varsity softball field at Kennedy High School after longtime teacher, coach, and department chairperson Sue Hall. Sue Hall is a 37-year veteran physical education teacher and the former softball coach at Kennedy High School. As a coach, Sue was honored twice as the Orange County Coach of the Year, and in 2002 was named the State Coach of the Year. Additionally, her teams played in the CIF Finals 4 times and captured CIF Championship twice. In her 17 years as the varsity coach, her teams qualified for CIF each year. As was stated, her overall record as the coach was an impressive 369, 104, and 4. Lastly, Coach Hall was named to the CIF Hall of Fame in 2004. The district's ad hoc committee evaluated the request, developed a report, and made a recommendation to the board for our consideration. So, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Congratulations, Sue. All right, and for those of you who just joined us, we went a little bit ahead to these items 9.3, 9.4, and 9.5, and we will go back to the other items after we do this. All right, item 9.4, naming a facility for John Dalem. And I have 2 speakers. You may pause if you'd like, sure. All right. Let's see. Paul Shalinski, please come forward.
Tough crowd. Kids left, right? If John Dalem was watching this thing, he'd be thrilled to see these young men winning CIF, because John is all about Anaheim Union High School District and their sports program. Not only that, he's a CIF proponent and he does their CIF history, so I'm sure he's writing notes right now in his bed. He's just had chemotherapy this morning, so he's dealing with some things, so he's at home. Sorry to share that, Johnny, but he'll be very excited to hear about all these things that our district is still doing and the exemplary things they do. I know that you're going to read some things about some of the statistics about what he's done, but he has been in this district. He started in '69. He was a teacher, started California history. He's taught psychology. He taught me psychology. He was a coach, longstanding at wrestling for Loera High School. He won CIF. He's won Orange County Coach of the Year. He's recognized up and down the state for all of the stuff he did in coaching. And he didn't really know wrestling when he came out of Vietnam War. He really has done a lot for this district. He has been assistant principal. He's been a principal. He's worked at Western. He's worked at Kennedy. He's worked at Loera. He's worked at Ball. He has been a name in this district. I asked some people to send me some letters. We got a couple of fans in the crowd. He just had a reunion with all of his wrestlers from the 70s and the 80s. Wow. And this guy is legitimately, I mean, people say the school should be named after him, quite honestly. He is legitimately all about Loera, and he's been a true fan of everything that we've done and for the district. I couldn't think of a better man to name the wrestling room after. He officiated my wedding. He officiated my brother's wedding, my brother-in-law's wedding, both of them. Rick Martins used to be here in one of these offices where he officiated that wedding as well. He's been everywhere, and he's been a heart and soul. I just want to speak to the heart of the man, because I know that you're going to speak to the credentials of the man. That's what we wrote about in the thing. And before the next man comes up to talk about the other person, I just want to speak to the heart of the other man that we're going to be recognizing here in a little bit, and that the fact that I started working and teaching with Ed Prang for the secondary person that we're going to be honoring, and I'll let Cork do a lot of the other talk about him, but I went to student teaching school with him, as well as started at Loera with him, and we were supposed to retire together. So it's with a sad heart that in his passing that we're doing this, because he should have been honored while he was here, like we're trying to do for John Dalem as well. So I appreciate all of your efforts in making this happen. I know that Loera High School, past, present, and future, are really looking forward to honoring John and Ed as well. So I appreciate the time for letting me speak. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. So up for consideration is Dr. John Dalem. So Dr. John Dalem was a teacher, 1969 to 84, wrestling coach, 71 to 84, that's 19, and the principal of Loera High School from 97 to 2004. In his tenure as the coach, his teams won nearly 233 matches while only losing 36. His teams won 10 league championships with a league record 53-1. Under his leadership, Loera won a CIF championship in 1983 and were CIF finalists in 1979 and 84. Coach Dalem was recognized as League Coach of the Year 10 times and Orange County Coach of the Year 4 times. Additionally, he was the first inductee into the Orange County Wrestling Hall of Fame. The district's ad hoc committee evaluated the request, developed a report, and made a recommendation to the board for their consideration. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any questions or comments? I know we received an email from Rosa Meliti. She wanted to be here. So the impact of John was not only the teams that he coached, but the people that he served. And Rosa was a campus supervisor.
I also want to thank the current Loera wrestling coach that's here and all the Loera High School fans that are watching. Thank you for the support.
All right, board, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous, Dr. John. Congratulations. All right, item 9.5, naming of the facility for Ed Prang.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. And thank you, Paul, for speaking. And then we have a Cork Snyder. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Ed Prang's best friend. We went through 7th grade through graduate school together in our careers. I teach at La Quinta High School. I've been a part of naming of facilities twice. I was the athletic director at La Quinta while he was the AD at Loera. So I know how hard it is to consider these things, because you really got to consider, everything. CIF has 3 words they use. They use academics, integrity, athletics. Ed is all about integrity. He missed, I think, 2 practices in 34 years. Whenever he'd get a transfer kid come in the summertime, he would call the other coach and say, hey, you got a kid here thinking about transferring, you might want to talk to him. That's integrity. Nobody does that. Nobody did it for Ed when his kids left, but he always did it. He is just the most amazing person. If you name the facility after him, you're stamping integrity on that gym. So thank you very much for considering this.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Okay, and the consideration is to request the name Loera High School Gymnasium after Ed Prang. Coach Prang was a physical education teacher and the head basketball coach at Loera for 34 years. In his tenure as the coach, his teams won nearly 450 games, won 6 league titles, and qualified for CIF 30 out of 34 seasons he coached. Additionally, in 1998, Coach Prang was named the Orange County Coach of the Year, coached in the county's All-Star Game. The district's ad hoc committee evaluated the request, developed a report, and made a recommendation to the board for their consideration. All right, any questions or comments? Okay, board, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations. Thank you to those who are here on behalf of those folks and for those that are watching. We appreciate you as well. Thank you. Okay, we are going back to item 6.1. I don't believe we had any student speaker. forms. So reports of the associations. Jeff? Morgenstern, thank you. Welcome.
Good evening, Board President Randall Trejo, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, and Cabinet. This podium is so deep, I always have a hard time looking down and up with my glasses here. Anyway, we're back. I think one of the blessings about being an educator, or at least a teacher, is having the summers off. I know some people work, and as ASTA president, I did work through the summer, off and on, all summer long, but I was able to take a little bit of break. And I think some of my friends and family had told me I got quite grumpy in May after everything that happened, and so I had some much deserved break and feeling a lot better. I think that our teachers, our students are excited for this school year, excited for their fresh start as well. And I would have to say that in speaking with teachers from around the district, leaders, that we are optimistic for this school year. We're very excited for the plans that we put in place last year to be able to have an open dialogue, to be transparent, and have conversation. We're looking forward to the creation of the Budget Stabilization Committee. Mr. Matsuda and I are meeting every 2 weeks to keep the dialogue open and the conversation going, as well as the Executive Board of ASTA will be meeting with the District Cabinet on a regular basis. So very happy, very pleased to participate, and we are committed as an association to that dialogue and to that work together. I think the message from, I know, Superintendent Matsuda and also from Dr. Freed about the path to healing, we are committed to that. We understand that it's going to take time, and it's rooted in the work that we do each day at our school sites with the teachers and the students and all the staff and everybody involved in the classroom. I think, though, one thing that I would point out is that when a relationship does get stressed, oftentimes people can become very sensitive, you know, and what would normally be maybe not such a big deal can be. And so I would just encourage all of us just to be very diligent and very proactive in attending to the details as we begin this school year. I'm committed to that, and I would assume that you are committed to it as well, but at the sites as well, with our teachers and their administrators, and just making sure that every opportunity is seized to continue down that road in healing together. So I just want to encourage all of us to be proactive. And lastly, you know, as I reflected over the spring, one thing that stood out to me were our students standing right here at this podium speaking on behalf of their teachers. And as educators, everybody in this room and across the district, you know, we spend our time and our energy, our careers educating students, and that's what we do. But sometimes I think we can learn an important lesson from our students as well. And as they spoke of their classes and the programs that they were in, all that was great stuff. But I think the one common theme that I keep going back to, which is they felt seen, they felt heard, they felt valued by their teachers. And I think that could be a great goal for all of us, so that everybody in this room and across the district, so that at the end of the year, if we all could say about ourselves and each other that we have been seen, we've been heard, and we've been valued, then I think that then we can say it was a successful year. So I'm looking forward to going down that road with you and all the great things that we can accomplish this year. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Principal Sasai, for coming up. I appreciate it.
Good evening, Madam President Randall Trejo, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, Executive Cabinet, students, parents, and school community join us in person and online. Cypress High School and Western High School are proud to announce the opening and partial opening of their new turf track and fields. The state-of-the-art facilities have already become a central hub for our athletic programs. The football teams have been diligently practicing on the new fields, preparing for what promises to be an exciting season. The annual Gear Up Conference was a tremendous success, providing our Gear Up schools with valuable resources and inspiration to pursue higher education. The conference featured workshops, keynote speakers, and interactive sessions that engaged and motivated our learners. Our Leadership Advance program kicked off the school year by empowering our leaders with the skills and knowledge they need to lead effectively. Participants engaged in team-building activities, leadership training, and strategic planning sessions. The teams we're excited to return to their sites and focus on transcendent thinking. Gilbert High School's Gilbert Garden continues to thrive, serving both educational resource and a community gathering place. The garden provides fresh produce and hands-on experiences in agriculture and sustainability. The Mac Farm to Table event was a highlight of our summer, showcasing the best of our district. Students, staff, and community members enjoyed a delicious meal made from Mac produce while learning about the importance of sustainable farming practices. Link Crew leaders have been hard at work helping incoming freshmen transition smoothly into high school life. Throughout orientation activities, mentorship, and ongoing support, the Link Crew has made significant impact in creating a welcoming and inclusive school environment. The ASB camps provided our students, government members with the opportunity to develop their leadership skills and plan for the upcoming school year. The camp included workshops on event planning, team building, and effective communication, ensuring that our ASB leaders are well prepared to serve their peers. The AIMS Summer Celebration brought together our community. The event highlighted the diverse intern programs and opportunities available in our district. Throughout the summer, modernization projects have been underway across the district to improve facilities and create better learning environments. These projects included upgrades to classrooms, technology, and infrastructure, ensuring that our schools are equipped to meet the needs of our students. Orangeview Junior High and Western High School participated in a summer redesign retreat as part of our preparation for the new 7 to 12 school opening in the fall of 2025. The retreat focused on promising practices for school redesign and had a chance to hear from Dr. Linda Darling-Hammond on school reform effective features. As we begin this new school year, we are excited about the many initiatives and improvements taking place across the Anaheim Union High School District, from the new facilities and leadership programs to community events and modernization projects. We are committed to providing our students with the best educational experience. Here's to a successful and inspiring school year. Thank you.
Thank you. And Miss Lacey Munger.
I'm just going to follow Ms. Asai. So, good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, Executive Cabinet, and community members. The 2024-25 school year is off to a smooth start for our AUHSD counselors. As of today, our 69 counselors within the school sites have scheduled 27,801 students in courses that not only meet the AUHSD requirements, but also fulfill their A through G requirements and align with our college and career indicators such as dual enrollment and CTE pathway completion. In the coming weeks, we expect as counselors to continue scheduling more students as our local elementary school districts resume their classes. Counselors will be ready to adjust their student schedules as needed based on any changes or requirements at school sites, which is to be expected within these first couple of weeks of school. Counselors are excited after that to kick off the year by conducting our universal needs assessment with all students at each site. This assessment is going to help identify the individual needs of students, allowing our counseling teams to design programs that address the 3 key counseling domains: academic, career, and personal social. Additionally, we are continuing our collaboration with psychologists and social workers on the mental health task force team to ensure that all of our students, whether they fall into Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3, have their social and emotional needs recognized and met. That is a priority for us. Finally, we are thrilled to announce the development of our 6-year plan for students, which will be integrated into our eCadence platform. Historically, our 6-year plan was a 4-year plan, primarily focused on class selection only. However, through our collaboration with eCadence, this new 6-year plan is going to support the development of each student's purpose, passion, and direction to help them achieve what matters most to them. Once again, we're working for the student, not for the district. The goal is for this plan to be a dynamic document that enables students to not only identify what matters to them now, but also what matters to them in the future and how they can reach those goals. Whether it's through the capstone, the 5 Cs, AIM, or other district initiatives, the 6-year plan in eCadence will capture a holistic picture of each student, not just the course selection side of the student. There's more to come, and we are excited to continue this journey with AUHSD. As counselors, we are always here not only to support our students, but we are that conduit between not only students, but community members, faculty members, school sites, and the district as a whole. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lacey. Heather, did you have a report today? Thank you. Heather Hutner, CSEA President. Welcome.
President Randall Trejo, Board of Trustees, Superintendent, Cabinet, staff, and community. As we start the new school year, there's been a lot of discussion about healing and about the roller coaster that the last year has been. Let's take that roller coaster analogy. For classified staff, we feel like we built that roller coaster. We ordered the parts, we called and we told everybody about it. We took care of the riders that got sick. But every time we get in line for a ride and try and get some of that joy, there's an unscheduled ride closure. We're happy that there's healing, but classified staff feel like it's occurring at their expense. Overtime hours have been reduced or eliminated while additional tasks keep getting added on. We are told that workload has nothing to do with pay, as long as the work can get done during your shift. But increasingly, it can't. This is especially true at school sites, where the front office staff are tasked with keeping up with their clerical duties in addition to providing our families with the customer service that they deserve and that we ask them to provide. Because there's not enough district translators to cover all of the requested meetings, our site's bilingual staff are being pulled more and more frequently from their main positions to interpret for meetings. This means that they fall behind on their primary duties, and other staff fall behind on their duties trying to help them. And it just keeps snowballing. And now, with no overtime, there's no way for them to catch up. When I saw the attendance percentage numbers presented at the Leadership Advance, my first thought was, I wish that our attendance people had the opportunity to provide better customer service, to be able to reach out to parents, to follow up with them with phone calls. But unfortunately, at most of our sites, especially our larger ones, they simply don't. Anaheim and Western High School have the same number of attendance people, even though Anaheim is double the size. It's just simply not possible for them to do those things. I understand that having additional staff costs money, but in some of these cases, not having the staff is also costing us money. The board has supported classified staff, and I always see that, and I do recognize it, but I also think that in some of these areas, we're teetering on that edge where without some additional support, we're gonna see our roller coaster break down. Despite all these concerns, though, I do still remain hopeful about this school year, that together we can work together and provide our students and our families and our staff with the school year that they need. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Is there any other member of the association that I neglected to see or call up? If you're here, we'd like to hear you. All right, thank you very much. Moving on to item 6.3, Parent-Teacher-Student Association PTSA report. Laura, did you have a report for us today?
I just wanted to thank you guys for letting us use your facilities and we had a meeting last night. It was very successful, and our hope is just build strong leaders and strong bonds between parents and the community.
All right, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Appreciate you. All right. Okay, item 6.3, item 7, public comments. Tanya, and please forgive me, my mispronunciation, Bogdanovich.
Good evening. You said that very well.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Good evening to everyone. My name is Tanya Bogdanovich. I am a retired school teacher and a grandparent to a senior attending Cypress High School. I am here to address a concern that was just made known to myself and to many other parents of independent students at Cypress High School. The independent study program has been a gift to so many students who acquire a safe learning environment that allows them the ability to succeed academically in a less crowded environment, to have a one-to-one instruction with teachers and tutors, and to complete tasks at a more conducive pace. We were told that our students would be able to participate in school activities such as dances, football games, and school clubs. We were told that our students would be graduating with the entire school body on graduation day, and they would be included in the class yearbook. Now the plans have changed, as we heard today, to have the IS students graduate separately from the entire student body. I, as well as many other students, were very alarmed today. They feel that this is discriminatory towards students with special needs. This is segregating students from one another. Please reconsider these plans to include all students in the graduation ceremonies together as one graduating class. Thank you.
Thank you. Tiffany Cleveland. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Cleveland, and I do have a daughter in independent studies at Cypress High. Like she said, it has been brought to my attention today that the district has decided to change their plans for the seniors that will be walking in June of 2025, that they won't be able to walk with their graduating class. Hold on. Originally, when we switched her, she was enrolled in Cypress, and then in December, she went into the independent studies program where she gets to attend on campus and has these one-on-ones with her teachers and meets her needs. She's able to thrive in this environment. When we did enroll her last year, they did tell us that she would be walking with her graduating class, no problems. She could attend all dances, any football games, picture in the yearbook. She has her Cypress High School ID card. So when this was brought to my attention today that this would possibly not happen, or she would have to re-enroll in Cypress coming into on-campus for the spring, that was extremely alarming to me because she will already meet all her credits as of December. She still will be enrolled, and I find that very disheartening that she would have to come onto campus when she's already enrolled in IS just to walk with her class. She's maintained a 3.5 GPA in person, turns in all her assignments, no issues there. Students who need this IS program to meet all their academic and career goals should not be discriminated against or treated differently from all other graduating students. They should not have to be separated from their student body. They should be able to be inclusive and included in this special graduation walk. It's very important for them. Please reconsider your decision, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Dr. Jose Lara? Welcome.
Hello, members of the board and parents and the community that is here. First, I just want to say thank you for speaking about the great things that are happening in independent studies as coordinator for alternative education. And I look forward to meeting with you to talk about the graduation next week. So I appreciate that. We heard the concerns and we'll be addressing them shortly. Today, actually, I'm here to talk about some of the things that have been other things that have been happening in Alta Ed, especially at Gilbert High School. I want to let the board know that the opening day, the past couple days have gone great over at Gilbert High School. We've been starting off with social emotional lessons, getting to know you activities, and orientation, making the students feel safe and welcome in a brand new environment since so many transferred to so many other schools. We started off school with social contracts. I want to thank Trustee O'Neill for visiting our school on the first day of school. It's always good for staff to see the trustees on our campus. Over the summer, we focused on supporting the students who didn't graduate on time. You know, those rebel students who want to do things on their own timeline. Yeah, those ones who challenge the system a little bit. Those ones I always love because those are going to be our change makers in the future. Well, we worked diligently, and the staff at Gilbert High School worked diligently and worked on doing home visits, outreaching to parents, and working with families, and working with the students to make sure they finished those last 2 or 3 classes that they didn't get to graduate. I'm happy to report to the board that out of 38 students that were just missed the mark, 33 of them met their graduation requirements over the summer thanks to the hard work of the Gilbert staff. That includes classified, teachers, and counselors who all worked as a team to make that happen. You heard earlier today about the AME internship over the summer and our beautiful community garden. The students did a lot of work on designing the garden, on building the garden, and I want to thank trustees Guerrero, trustees Randall Trejo, and trustees Hoshi, who came to our opening day celebration for that. Board, the last thing I want to say is that we've had a tremendous year last year, and one of the great things about Gilbert High School is that finally some of the data is showing the work that we're doing. This year, I'd like to tell the board and the community as well, the staff at Gilbert has done such a great job that we have a projected graduation rate of 80% this school year. The highest we've had in the past decade, and that's only because I haven't looked any further because I couldn't find the data readily available. I have to go looking through other indexes or whatever. But what's on the computer is the last decade, the highest graduation rates ever at Gilbert High School. That is absolutely amazing, and that's due to your leadership, your investment into the students at Gilbert. And as we know, Gilbert serves the entire AUHSD community from Cypress High School all the way over to Catella. So board, I want to tell you thank you very much for your support of Gilbert, for support of the students in Anaheim, La Palma, and Cypress, the cities that we love, and let's continue forward this school year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lara. Our next speaker, Sofia Romero. Welcome.
Hello. I'm going to use my phone because I didn't write it down. Hello, board members, Ms. Anna Marie Trejo, Executive Cabinet, Mr. Matsuda, parents, staff, students, and everyone that's watching live, everyone that's present here today, and community. My name is Sofia Romero, a super proud parent, volunteer parent, community leader, advocate for our students, teachers, staff, and community. I didn't get a chance to prepare a message, but I hope that I share and what I share today and request today gets immediate attention from the board. Before anything, I want to congratulate our Sycamore staff for the amazing welcoming of all of our 7th graders and all returning students. We are grateful for such a successful beginning and enforcing the dress code and the cell phone usage. I strongly support that, so I'm very happy for that. So thank you, especially because we're putting signs out there, and I just think that it's very, very important that we stress out to all of us parents on how not to allow our kids to come dressed to our schools, as you know, that leads to things that are not acceptable. I'm also here to speak for 3 important reasons. The first one is the student safety in every way, shape, or form. Yesterday, I saw a student being registering at Anaheim High School. This student, I've known her since she was at Sycamore Junior High. She was an instigator, a very strong bully person, problematic student. This student created many fights. She sent many other students to beat up on our students, and also began instigating my daughter and following her, intimidating her. And I strongly ask that this type of students be removed from our school district or our school. I don't want her at Anaheim High School, as that is where many of our other students that were injured, hurt, or intimidated by her attend now. I have brought that issue to our principals back then, our assistant principals, and nothing was done. This student instead, 2 weeks later, was awarded an award. Not only that, but today she began instigating my daughter. I will not allow it. I will not tolerate it. And I will hold you guys accountable if anything happens to my daughter. My daughter is not a problematic child. She's very involved in sports, and I don't want her to be hurt. I'm very upset that today we brought it up to our principal and our assistant principal. And instead of supporting my daughter, they are giving her special attention as to, for my daughter to take another option of taking 0, period. Why are we accommodating to a student that does this instead of taking action in a different way? I strongly believe in students having a second chance in anything. But when a student refuses to change after so many years of doing that, I don't think the student is willing to change, and I don't think it's a safe, I don't think it will be a safe environment for any of our students. I already got another call, and I can show you guys the call from the other parent that was assaulted by her and her friends in front of us. I had to intervene for that because we had no security at the time. I'm sorry, I know that my time's up. I also want to address a little bit, Mr. Matsuda, I really appreciate a lot of the work that you do. And I know that we all been, in a, like you said, a roller coaster going up and down. And I am not gonna stop being an advocate. I'm not gonna stop helping because of, little things that happen. When they happen, I just think that we have to be held accountable. As you can remember, when we had our last DLAC meeting, I felt humiliated when you took the microphone away from me. I addressed that to you in an email, and I got an email back from you. I just think that I didn't share that with many people because people continue to ask me how I feel. I know my daughter sat there that day, and I don't want my daughter to ever have a bad image about anybody. I still, tell my kids to respect everyone, regardless of what actions anybody else takes. But I just think that it is fair that we hold everyone accountable, and even myself, when I make a mistake, as I have made mistakes, that we address them and we apologize publicly. I think we are all here for one important reason, and that's our students. Making our students be successful, helping them achieve goals, and make their dreams happen. I do believe that our district has a lot of great things, and we just have to work together. We have to make it happen, and I know we can. I know it's not easy because I'm not in your, seats, but I just think that, we all have to be held accountable. But I just want to say, I am willing to talk to anybody about any of these issues, but today this is what I came for. And again, let's have a great, successful 2024-2025 year, and we are here. We're going to be here for many years, as I do have my 8th grader coming in. I mean, he's just an 8th grader, and then my daughter in 10th grade. But I appreciate everyone, and especially, the outcome that we've been having with the teachers and the parents that advocate and our students. I just don't think that it's something personal, but it's something that it matters because we're all together in this.
Thank you,
So,
Ms. Romero.
thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. So, Sophia, I respect you a lot, and I do want to apologize publicly for any misstep that I took at that meeting. And because I do respect you, you've been an advocate for parents and students in our district, and I am very sorry.
And I accept your apology, and let's work together.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Newman, do you want to wait till 9.7, or would you like to speak now on your item? All right. Jermaine Newman, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. My name's Jermaine Newman. I have a couple questions. One, is there a reason that the July 18th meeting minutes haven't been uploaded to the website? They're not attached to the agenda.
I have a back and forth dialogue.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, I think it's an oversight, might have been overlooked. So, actually, I will wait because Mr. Matsuda just walked out of the room.
Could you speak in the mic because I had a hard time.
Sorry, I'm going to wait to speak on the item because Mr. Matsuda just walked out of the room.
All right, moving on. Item 8, our presentation of eCadence. This is an information item.
While Paulina is pulling up the slide deck, first of all, thank you, Madam President, Board of Trustees, Executive Cabinet, those who are in the audience here and at home or watching online. I want to thank you for the opportunity to give some updates to our board regarding eCadence, our learning management platform, and kind of where we are at and where we are headed, so you have the most updated knowledge in terms of the plan to move forward with this work. As I begin, I want to share just a reminder about the vision, mission, and core values that we have in our district, because I think when we talk about some of the updates around eCadence, you're going to see why it's deeply connected to the work of our community, and I appreciate the work that Ms. Romero just spoke about and working together. What we've done with 16 or 17 of our schools, the other 3 schools are going to be completing that this year, is the visioning work, where the community, both families, students, staff, both certificated and classified alike, along with our administrators, came together along with community partners to answer a couple of questions. What is it that we want our students to look like, be able to do, the disposition skills, attributes when they leave us, and then what is the purpose of K-12 schools? And through a full day of interaction, article reading, and discussions and dialogue, the visions have come up at each of our schools, and they all mirror very similar themes. Really a whole child approach to education that values the skills as much as we value content. Right? When schools traditionally focus on just the content, our schools are really focused on this whole child approach, and that came out loud and clear from our vision. That's where you see the Create the Better World through the Unlimited You. It was important for our community that we give back and that we teach students to think of others before they just think of themselves, and to find ways to help make the world a better place. You can see other priorities that emerged from our community that we do graduate students that are socially aware, civic-minded, life-ready, that have those soft and hard skills, which really you see those elements in our career preparedness systems framework, the way that we approach teaching and learning, the great job that our teachers do in bringing these lessons and experiences into our classroom each and every day, both on the daily, but then also through the great work they do through the performance task assessments they do, and the way that we help to measure our student progress as it connects to both the content and the skills and their voice and purpose. The core values that you see on the next slide really speak to the themes that are essential for our community. I'm not going to take the time to read these to you, but I do want to highlight just a couple that really speak to the work that we're doing in partnership with eCadence and our colleagues. First, it's the core value number 3, the asset-based instructional approach. One of the things that you're going to see in this update is how eCadence really allows us to begin measuring what we value. And when we look at the data that we're trying to collect, it's really about collecting things that show the strengths and the assets in our students and our community. And so as we hear more about the updates, I want you to be thinking about the asset-based approach and how you see that live through the platform and the way that we're trying to leverage and use it in our work. Also, core value number 5, that our vision and mission core values are delivered primarily through instruction. As you're going to learn today about the learning management platform, is it's more than just a place to house assignments and marks for our students' grades. You're going to see that it's really an instructional tool that teachers can leverage in the way that they support student learning. It's a tool that can be leveraged to support different student groups and their varied needs, specifically our plurilingual or English learner students and our students with disability. You're going to see some areas in ways that the tool can be used to differentiate instruction to better meet our students where they're at. And it's all happening through instruction. And then lastly, in systems and not silos, you're going to hear some of the updates in terms of what we're trying to do as a district so that way we can create stronger systems in the way that we approach our instruction and use the tools with more continuity across our district so we can collect the data that we're all after in terms of measuring what we value as a student. It doesn't mean that we ignore the other data points that we've traditionally looked at. Those are also important, but we want to make sure that we're looking at the whole child and data that really tell the complete story of who they are, how they fit in this world, and how we can help them succeed, recognizing the assets that are going to help propel them to that success. The next thing I want to share is just a reminder of the community approach, right? The LCAP, our Local Control Accountability Plan. I'm grateful that as a district we've been recognized for year after year for the work that we do with our LCAP process. You know that we were one of the, I think, 11 districts that were recognized in the onset of the LCAP process in the way that we engaged with our community to develop goals, look at the data together, and then come up with plans in terms of how we want to approach helping to close gaps with our students, but also elevate the strengths that we're seeing. Something we're really proud of, and that has continued throughout the years as we brought our community together, usually over 5 or 6 sessions when many other districts just simply provide a survey, and that's what informs their LCAP. We really do take to heart the voice and the feedback from our community. These 3 goals represent the priorities that our community outlined, and just to summarize, Goal 1 really looks at a whole child approach. So again, reinforcing the way that we really believe in a whole child approach, and we do call it specific attention to student groups that are traditionally underserved or underrepresented and that often have additional challenges, and being really intentional with how we spend our money and how we provide support to these student groups to really close some of the gaps that they might have. And that's our plurilingual students, our foster youth, and our low-income students. Now, the LCAP obviously comes with funding sources that doesn't necessarily connect to our students with disabilities because they have different funding sources, but we all know students with disabilities is another student group that we're also deeply committed to supporting as well. So you're not going to see them on our LCAP goals because of the funding source, but please know that that is a student group that we're deeply committed to supporting and helping along the way as well. Goal 2 really talks about the way that we engage with our families, our parents, and our caregivers, and our community partners. And that, I think you heard from Jeff and you heard from a few others I think Jermaine started it, but we're not thinking about just what we as the educators do, but really bringing in all our partners to support our students, that there really is a village behind our students helping them be successful. So Goal 2 really talks to that partnership and that we work collaboratively together. And then Goal 3 talks about the culture, right, the climate, how we are creating a safe, inclusive, and positive environment and safe environment in the way that we support our students. And again, all 3 goals specifically call attention to those student groups. Well, as we talk about the eCadence updates, I want you to keep the LCAP goals in mind because this is also going to be a tool that's going to help our staff and our community continue to move in that direction. So with that, I want to start off with a quick slide just to share some important updates in terms of initiatives and grants that we've received, which is also connected to the update around eCadence. First, I'm going to start with the top left, Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. Just Chan Zuckerberg, the wife of Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook founder. We have been given about a $1.1 million grant in partnership with UC Irvine, one of our collaborative partners, and also working closely with Chan Zuckerberg's team to really make a deeper dive in terms of how we measure the things that we have identified as values. And one of the things that attracted Chan Zuckerberg and her institute is that whole child approach we have here. As you know, we don't believe in teaching to the test, but we certainly want our students to do well on that test. So as we do this whole child work, we're looking at trying to find ways to assess the values that our community has identified as priorities. And that's really the values that you see in our CPSF, specifically the 5 C's. So Chan Zuckerberg and her team are working with UCI and our district in the way that we measure the 5 C's. The way that we are beginning to really do that work deeply are the student reflections. As students reflect on the work they're engaging on in class, the great work that our teachers are doing with our students, typically through the performance task assessments, those reflections give us insight, especially through the work that Chan Zuckerberg's team, UCI, and our district are doing together to gauge insight in terms of how our students are progressing along the 5 C's. It's still being developed, but we're seeing great promise in that area. So that is one initiative I want you to be aware of because eCadence plays an essential role in that. Also, the work that we're doing with USC and Candle, which is led by Dr. Helen Imorino Yang. And as the Leadership Advance, you may recall us talking about transcendent thinking. And Dr. Sasai, I don't know if she's still here, but she mentioned that in her report. Transcendent thinking is simply that what students are learning in their classes can transcend or extend beyond the classroom experience. So you think about the 5 C's, for example. If a student is working in a group through a project and they're learning the skills of how to work with others, that's a skill that we want to transcend just beyond that 3rd period English class. We want a student, when they're in the world of work or at part of a team in athletics or whatever it may be, to be able to show and illustrate the skills that they learned and are learning in the classroom and let it be applicable to other situations and scenarios. So this transcendent thinking is something that we're very interested in studying. There's a lot of research that when students have more experiences with transcendent thinking and can see the connections to what they're learning and its applicability to other scenarios or situations, there's actually greater happiness, greater sense of belonging, and higher self-esteem in those students. So clearly connected to the work that we're doing, which is aligned with the drivers of our community. And again, you're going to see how eCadence plays a role in that research in supporting the work that we're doing. And then lastly, you're going to see the work that we're doing with Carnegie Foundation, based out of New York. Carnegie recently gave us a $200,000 grant in partnership with our higher ed partners, the Collaborative. We are the only school district that has been given this grant by Carnegie. There were 10 other grants that were given. Our grant is the only one that involves a school district like us. It's really about matriculating and highlighting work that's being done to transform. And so what we're doing is highlighting that work through the lens of eCadence, right, in terms of how we're supporting whole child transformation. So they're interested in seeing the student reflections that the students are doing, the product, right? What students are saying about their experiences and how that's connected then to the amazing work that we can learn from in the classroom with our teachers and the way that they leverage and use their performance task assessments connected to our capstone program. So you can see these 3 separate initiatives, all super important and connected to our drivers. eCadence is really a big central glue point that's going to help us get there with all 3 that are connected to the things that our community has identified as priorities. So I want to set the stage for you as I go into these updates, just so you understand how eCadence plays a role in helping us in this area. So one update I want to share with eCadence is the integration of artificial intelligence. So this platform is, again, it's more than a tool that just allows us to house documents and items there. It really does integrate the artificial intelligence. And one of the things that I'll share later, but I'm going to say again now because I think it's important. One of the things that we learned with artificial intelligence, one of the first districts to kind of lean into it, is we recognize the moral imperative around artificial intelligence and really being sure that we teach students to use it for good and not for evil or bad, right? We're also wanting to make sure that with artificial intelligence and its pretty expansive and rapid growth is that we're doing everything we can to protect student data, student privacy, and even district data, right? So the one thing that I'm proud of, and I'll talk more about this in a bit, is with eCadence, all of the artificial intelligence integration that's a part of that platform is housed within the platform. So as a result, it has given safeguards and protections and firewalls that you wouldn't get if you went on to ChatGPT on your own or any other tool or platform on your own. So eCadence, and without getting into technical with the language, the coders and designers of eCadence, they essentially can take our student data and it's coded where it kind of encrypts the data so it's not recognizable, and it protects the students. So when the students are using the AI tools, or even our staff are using the AI tools to enhance their instruction or to support learning, these tools do protect student data and privacy. So I want you to be aware of that. But this AI integration that we call Scrappy. Scrappy is an AI, or artificial intelligence, bot. And it's a personalized tutor that's being built within the system. And so this is connected to everything that's within eCadence. And although it can access things on the outside, once it brings it into the eCadence platform, it doesn't get to go back out. It's now under the protection of the bubble of eCadence and the coding that the designers are creating. So again, it can come back in, but it can't go back out. It's blocked, right? So the data is protected. But it gives teachers and students the opportunity to interact and utilize AI to enhance their lives, make their lives easier if you're a teacher designing lessons, or if you're a student getting support academically from Scrappy. And Scrappy is a 24/7 AI bot, so if a student wants help in their math, they can also ask Scrappy questions, at 10 o'clock at night when their teacher may be in their second dream at night, right, sleeping. So it's something that the students have access to. The other thing that's super important is with the Scrappy tool, it's also been coded to probe. So it does not give answers. If a student is asking for answers, it just keeps redirecting the student to think about what the problem is asking the student to solve, whether it's a math problem, a science dilemma, or an English essay. It's probing and asking. So it's been trained and designed and written to constantly probe. If they feel the student through multiple prompts is still asking for the answer without asking, because it's within the system, it will say, hey, I understand you're still struggling with this math question. Have you spoken to Mr. So-and-so, your math teacher? They might be able to help you. So it's been trained not to give answers. And so that's one of the cool things that we see within Scrappy. It has also been coded to look for those red flags. If students say things that may be inappropriate, or it might be something that's harmful or hurtful to themselves, it also creates an alert that go to our team. So it's been built and designed to really protect the students, protect our system, but within the bubble of eCadence in the framework. Scrappy is live, by the way, so students can access Scrappy now, and I'm going to share why that's so important as I share one of the bigger updates that we have with eCadence. The other thing I want to share is the nudges. Now, this is not live yet, and the reason being is we need to have data within the eCadence platform for the nudges to really be operational. A nudge is just what it suggests. It is kind of that nudge or prodding of a student, perhaps, or even a parent in a healthy way to give reminders or encouragements. So a nudge could be when the student, let's say, is missing a couple of assignments. Hey, student A, I notice you're missing a few assignments. You might want to work to get these assignments in. Or, hey, you have a test coming up in a couple of days. Did you know if you got a 90% or higher, this is what it's going to do to your grade? So those nudges are a way to provide encouragements, and that doesn't happen outside of the system, it happens within the system, which is why one of the important updates I'm going to share in a moment is so critical for this to work, which is why it's not activated yet. It will be activated, I believe the target date is around the 5th week of school when the gradebook piece should be in play, but I'll explain that in a moment. So that's the nudge. The nudge also can benefit parents in letting them know and alerting them of assignments that students have due that may be worth a lot of points. It could also provide a nudge to them on upcoming exams or big projects that the students are going to be involved in. It can provide insights to teachers in terms of how students are doing. We're going to be working with teachers to collect the kinds of nudges they're interested in receiving, because we don't want to unintentionally create a nudge that is perceived as calling them out that they're not doing something well. That's not the intent of the program. It's to be a tool to enhance and support our teachers and support our students. So we're going to be working with our teachers to collect examples of the kinds of nudges they might want. But that's what's in process right now, and we have a prototype already in play, but again, it's going to be strengthened as more information gets built into the eCadence gradebook, so Scrappy can then be activated to then really provide those nudges, which again I'm going to talk about in a moment. Now, I talked about the differentiation with this platform. So one of the things that I want to highlight is the specific strengths that this platform does in the way that it helps a teacher differentiate instruction. It allows, because it's within the system of eCadence and because of its connection and communication with ARIES, it allows the system to understand the types of students that are sitting in teachers' classes, whether they are a student with a disability and have an IEP, if they're a plurilingual language student, if they speak multiple languages in their home. So it's going to be able to provide that kind of knowledge and support to teachers in the way that they may be able to instruct. You know, if I'm a teacher, and I was a former special ed teacher, so if I want my students to read an article in class, and I have a couple students who may be reading at the 4th grade level, I can input that article into the AI, and it can spit that article out written at a 4th grade level. So now my students who are at that level can still access the content. I've differentiated. Doesn't mean they're going to be I'm lowering standards. It just allows them to access, so now they can be engaging in the same content or the same discussion despite their challenge in accessing content that may be written at a level that they're not quite able to read it yet. So it allows for that kind of support that we're looking to build into the system for our teachers. In terms of the AI-driven support, I just mentioned one, but it also has an AI suite that is part of the platform. You may recall right now we are so blessed that we receive the eCadence platform at no cost, right? $0. We have a 20-year agreement that's renewable in 5-year terms. Those terms are at no cost. Right now, we are just now in year 1 of the 2nd term, again, at no cost. With eCadence, that replaced Schoology. You may recall Schoology and other platforms like that can cost a district of our size between $160,000 to $220,000 a year, right? Ongoing every year. We're not paying that right now. Now, that's at the basic form. So even with Schoology and some of the other platforms, that's eCadence at its simplest form, but eCadence is doing so much more than just housing assignments. As you may recall, the board engaged in a process to add a lot of additional bells and whistles, what we call the premium services that we had paid eCadence for. With AI, I want to give an example of like solar panels. So with solar panels, if you were to lease solar panels at your house, as you know, the cost of electricity is rising. But if you get a lease, you flatten that. So for the next 15 years, you may be stuck at this rate despite the ongoing increase to electricity. Well, that's what we did with eCadence. The cost of AI is constantly evolving, but also becoming more expensive. We have flatlined that price for the next 4 years with eCadence, being able to be able to provide all the suite of AI tools within the platform despite their rising costs. And when you factor in that the eCadence platform as a whole is $0, we are coming out way, way ahead. You may recall also as a part of that agreement was the revenue sharing. So eCadence is now beginning to work with other districts. Beyond just the state of California, they're working with districts across the country. So as other districts begin to also purchase this premium service, we are getting what's called revenue sharing. So that's going to also lower the cost to which we paid that one-time cost for the 4 years for, plus giving us additional money to make the free cost now being hopefully a profitable experience for our district. So a lot of exciting things on the horizon with what that's happening, but again, the protection within the eCadence framework. In terms of the IEP and accommodation visibility, because it has access to our students and it has a direct connection to ARIES, it can also provide analysis and updates to our teachers in terms of the IEP at a glance. So teachers are better positioned to support students with disabilities that may be in their classrooms. These are all things that eCadence is working on with the feedback of our teachers to build the platform to better support them in supporting students. The one thing I'm really proud of is eCadence was really designed and built really by our teachers. It was our teachers who provided all the feedback and input to eCadence and designers that have built the system that we have. That was the other reason why we were given the contract at no cost, right? We were the beta district. We were the pilot district that was helping to help provide the input to build this. So part of the reward that we got in doing that is the no costs, right? And that's where we're now benefiting, even in our second term, with not paying a cent for the basic platform services. That makes sense. And then the last one is the student engagement and support tools. I just mentioned Scrappy, the multilingual interaction. So if you're a student who's a newcomer to our district and you speak another language, if you go onto eCadence and Scrappy and you write to Scrappy in your native or primary language, Scrappy will respond in that language. So it allows a student who may still be working on their language acquisition skills and not quite have the confidence to engage in English in asking Scrappy for help. It can do that in their primary language. So that's another tool that's built within the system. And again, the assignment assistance. Scrappy is available 24/7, so students have access to the support whenever they want. And again, it's something that we're constantly monitoring, and I know we have a team here that's always looking at the responses that students are providing and the responses that Scrappy is giving to strengthen that. But again, because it's within the system, there's data protection for both our students and the district. With regards to the important update I want to share, I want to make it clear when you see this slide, I don't want people for a second to think that we're moving away from ARIES. ARIES is a student management system. That is the system where attendance is taken. It's in a system where student data in terms of their home address, their contact information for parents, right, their home language, all that information lives and is housed in ARIES. ARIES is not going away. It's a matter of fact, eCadence has a direct link to ARIES. So it's important to understand that SMS ARIES is still very much a part of what we do. It's connected to CalPads. Without going into the weeds, that's the data system that we use to do reporting at the state level, which is contacted to scores and reports and data that we often get at the state level and connected to our dashboard. So ARIES is not going away. But what I want to shift is you see the bottom that you see gradebook. So ARIES right now has been the host of our gradebook, but the way the ARIES gradebook has worked is it really was a house that was where you stored the name of assignments and student grades. You really couldn't access the kind of work students were doing or the samples of what students were doing. It was just a place for teachers to list, I did assignment A, and a student got this grade on it, right? That's really what the platform ARIES did with the gradebook. A lot of strengths with ARIES, but that was what they did, which is very traditional, and it doesn't really allow us to do the deeper whole child work that we're after. Well, eCadence, because it was built with our teachers, with their input, they have built a system that is really aligned to our drivers, our 5 C's, our whole child approach. So the eCadence gradebook as such allows for a whole child approach, where teachers can tag assignments connected to any one of the 5 C's that it's connected to. As I mentioned, those grants that we have, it's now going to allow us to collect data on the things that we value, the 5 C's. Our 5 C descriptors, which were written in partnership with our parents and our teachers many years ago at the Anaheim Convention, like 5 or 6 years ago at the Convention Center. You may recall, you may have been a part of that. That feedback built our 5 C descriptors, which impacts what we think the 5 C's look like in a classroom. Those have been integrated into the eCadence platform. So when it's assessing the student reflections, right, that have been uploaded in eCadence, because this is also where our capstone, our e-portfolios are housed, the eCadence is able to connect and then begin to analyze through the AI tools that's built within the system how our students are progressing as it connects to those 5 Cs. So we're now starting to be able to get data that really share with us those assets that we talked about earlier, right? That asset-based approach. So now when we go to LCAP, not only do we look at SPAC scores or graduation rates or A through G rates, our goal is in the future to begin looking at the 5C data. So we can see how we're doing as a system in the way that we integrate the 5 Cs into our classroom. Student voice, how students are voices are amplified to be empowered, and really advocate and do work connected to things that they care about, right? We're democracy schools out of our schools. So the eCadence gradebook is going to allow for far greater flexibility with our teachers based on the things I just shared with you in the way that we measure what we value and the way that we support teaching and learning, because it's more than a gradebook. It's really an instructional tool that can assist teachers, assist students, and, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, also assist parents. So, why the change? I kind of mentioned this, but I want to make sure it's really clear why we're making this change, where we're going to be requiring our teachers to shift to the gradebook by the 5th week of school. I will tell you that we got data as of 4 p.m. today. We already have over 700 teachers that have synced and linked their gradebook in areas to eCadence. That's huge. That's about 60% of our teachers, and we're on the 2nd day of school, and I can tell you, there are so many teachers that aren't going to have assignments the first few days of school because they're building relationships. You heard Jeff and a few others talk about the importance of the care opening and really getting to know students in the community and helping them feel welcomed and loved. I think you heard Jose Lara talk about Gilbert and the way they open school. That's consistent at all of our schools. So ideally, starting next week, you're probably going to see even that number grow more as grades start to be added to their grade book. But again, as our teachers start to integrate, you're going to see more of the tool being leveraged to support. It is aligned to our district goals. It is aligned to our drivers, CPSF. So that is one of the reasons why we're making this change. 2, I mentioned this earlier, but I want to reinforce the safeguards and protections. It is essential for us that we protect student data, student privacy, staff data, staff privacy, and just district data as a whole. And even though they have partnerships with these AI suites to integrate the tool into their system, it comes with the protection because, again, what comes in doesn't get to go out. It's still within the framework and the coding within the system. So that's an essential reason why we want to do this. So we can intentionally lean into AI and its growth and equip our students with the skills on how to navigate those tools, because as we know, through most of our jobs, we use AI, right? I mean, if you ask Siri a question, that's AI, right? I mean, there's all kinds of things that we're doing. So we want to make sure that we leverage and also help our students use it for healthy and positive choices. So that's why that's an important aspect of this as well, that safeguard and protection, so we can safely support our students through the AI integration. I mentioned it is a comprehensive tool. It is more than a gradebook. It is a way that we can align to our drivers. It's also going to be providing those same nudges and insights to our parents, right? As you look at a couple down, you see the parental involvement. Because of the language, parents can interact with the tool via their language. We're also hoping that the nudges go to the parents in the same way that we're going to go to the students, so they're getting notified and update. As a parent of a student who was a part of a district that used Aries, I never got the nudges. I had to be that helicopter dad that was constantly going on Aries to check to make sure my son, not so much my daughter, but my son was doing his work, right? With this, I would get the nudges automatically, so it would come to me to let me know what he is or isn't doing, or how he did or didn't do. So that's going to be a huge aspect. And there's going to be a parent app on Aries that they can access now, either in the Apple Store or the Android Store. And it's eCadence Parents that they can go on and get it. Next week, a video is going to go out to our parents. I did the English version. Mr. Saldivar did the Spanish version. It's going to go out and provide updates in terms of the app and how they can access this and to notify them of this change. The good thing is, because it syncs right now, even if the parents still go on Aries, they can still see the grade book. The grade book right now is still active, but come that 5th week, teachers will have to use eCadence, as Aries will become view only. But parents, if they went on Aries, they can still see the grade book because it still syncs, right? Because again, I talked about Aries being connected to CalPads and the reporting system. At the end of the day, even what's in Cadence, it still has to be submitted through Aries because that's what's connected to CalPads. But again, very easy for our teachers and what they do. And again, we had about over 50% of our teachers last year used the eCadence gradebook last year, which is also one of the reasons why it was easier to make the shift this year. 95% of our teachers were on eCadence last year because of the capstone and because of the college and career lessons. So there's already some familiarity with the platform. But this year, we're updating and uplifting what we're expecting to happen this year. When I talk about the measuring what we value, I want to just really double down that for us, You know, with us not teaching to a test, it is essential that as a district, it's not a free-for-all, right? Just teachers do whatever you want. So for us, the way that we really measure what we value is through our capstone program, and that's the collection of performance task assessments. At the end of the day, when we look at student work and we look at the reflections, those give us immediate impact and input in terms of how our students are progressing based on what we value. So it gives us a way to progress monitor the data that we value and to make sure that what we're doing connected with content, the 5 C's and student voice and purpose are still happening across our sites. Lastly, this slide is more just a visual to let you know that we are trying to be very intentional with the way that we roll and implement this rollout. So you can see there are different domains, ways that we are working with eCadence on the technical aspect. There's things that we're doing in the way that we communicate this change and support others with this change. There is progress monitoring. There are reports being sent to our sites every week in terms of who is on it and who is not. So again, we can support those that are needing that help to make that transition. You know, I'm grateful to Jeff and his leadership that he was very supportive of this change, but his only ask of us, which we have committed to, is that we support teachers through this transition, which we are absolutely committed to. That's one of the reasons why we didn't expect this to be done the first week of school. We knew that connecting with students, building relationships was paramount, and so we didn't want teachers to feel the added stress of the first week having to make this shift, which is why we gave that 5-week grace period. So by the 5th week, we're going to be making the shift over to eCadence, where that's where they will be using the gradebook. Even though it will still connect with areas, that's where they'll be doing. You can see also the support. There's a number of things that we've been doing. We've been hosting office hours. Tyler and the eCadence team have been meeting with staffs on the first couple days. There's office hours that we made available for them to go to after school virtually. I know Tyler and the eCadence team are making appointments with principals to go visit their schools and be made available during conference periods. So if teachers need help syncing their gradebook, they are there to walk them through it and do it with them. In addition to the work that we're going to do with eCadence and our ed tech coaches. Our ed tech coaches are going to be transitioned to where they also play a massive role in ed tech support around eCadence. So we're going to have staff that are dedicated and earmarked to help. We gave all of our principals a list of every teacher, that 50% that I mentioned, who are using eCadence last year. Not that those folks are expected to be ambassadors and leaders of this work, but if I'm an English teacher who used it last year and I have a colleague who's now new to it, of course, I can help my colleague with that transition. So it doesn't fall on one person, on just Tyler or just the ed tech coach. There are a lot of people, and we saw this across the district. Every school had some staff that were using eCadence last year as their gradebook. So we want to leverage those who have familiarity and comfort with the platform to be able to help and support one another. We talk about collaboration, right? Our core values: believe in and model the 5 C's. We want to make sure that we're modeling the 5 C's with each other in the way that we support this rollout. So this is more a visual that we have a thought out rollout plan to support our staff, our teachers, and even our parents in the way that they access this platform. Now, I want to end my presentation with a couple testimonials because, as you know, as the assistant superintendent, I have my own eCadence class that I use with the principals, but in full transparency, I'm not grading them. Right, so I don't use the gradebook like the teachers do with our students. I also don't do some of the features in the eCadence that they might be doing with students. So I brought 2 teachers and a student here who are going to talk about the work of the platform and the impact they have seen with the impact, which really validates why we're making the shift, which is connected to those other reasons that I spoke of. So the first testimonial that I'd like to bring up is a great teacher, Rob Gaudette. He's a 5C coach at Dale Junior High, but just a great teacher leader within our district. So Rob, I know he's been using the platform, so I'm going to give him an opportunity to share about the platform and the impact that he's seen in his classroom. Mr. Gaudette.
Thank you, Dr. Freed. I don't know how you guys are feeling. I know eCadence very well. I've been using it for 4 years. I also know about UCI, I know about Candle, but you just got 10 minutes of just... Okay, it is review, okay. All right, so again, I'm not new to learning management system. I think eCadence is the 8th one I've used in the last 20 years since we started using technology in the classrooms. And I want to go back to one of the values that we value, and that is having education work for students and not the other way around. And with that, I want you to think about the difference between a grade and feedback. Now, in Aries, a student sees they got 9 out of 10 in one class, maybe they got 40 out of 50 in another, maybe they got 90 out of 100 in another, they got an A, 95%, or right, something that we saw growing up, right? That works for us, that works for institutions, that works for universities. But with the quick grader in eCadence, you still have the rubric, you still have the points, you still have the letter, but you also have feedback. And when you give feedback, students get a notification on eCadence's platform as well as an email. So over the last couple of years, I've been experimenting with feedback, and you start off taking, excellent, good job, well done, And then with the integration of some AI tools, you get AI to inspect the writing, to inspect the piece, and AI can do something that's a little bit more valuable, starting with a very non-intrusive sentence frame like, hey, I noticed, I wonder, and I wish. And the student gets that notification, and then they reply, thank you. Or they say, hey, you know, I really want to work on my conclusion, or I really want to deepen my analysis and I want to add some more primary source documents. And they could say, hey, Gaudette, would you please unsubmit my work? Boom, it's unsubmitted. You know, for years, and this is my 31st year, and I dreaded grading papers because I thought you got to give the feedback, because the feedback works for kids. That's where they grow, that's where they learn, and that's where we show them what we value. So with the feedback tool, you know, I've been writing things on papers, and a student gets their paper back, and even if they read it, it just goes in the waste bin. But now it's going to go in a portfolio, and now we're going to have a conversation about that work. And now the grade actually means something, because when a student or a parent looks in areas without the feedback, it doesn't mean a whole lot. So one of the most innovative things I think I've used is the feedback comment, and as well as the integrated AI tools to help me give feedback in just a few minutes, and then have that conversation with kids about their work. And it's really been a game changer, to be quite honest.
And so now I want to bring up Tyler Sherman. As you know, Tyler is really our eCadence lead for the district. He has been the one helping to support teachers across our district. He supports our admin when folks have complaints or concerns about the platform when it was in its beta, especially its beta years. Tyler was the one who could help code for the designers, right, through Teacher Talk to help them make sense of what they were hearing. So Tyler's played a pivotal role, but because he works with teachers across the district, I wanted him to come out and talk a little bit about the feedback that he has seen and the input he has seen from teachers across the district using this platform. So Tyler Sherman.
Thank you all, and I want to make it very clear too. I am a teacher. I teach at Magnolia and CVA as well as on top of my eCadence role. Dr. Freed, you did mention that you tasked me with getting everyone on the gradebook sync, so expect to start grading your principals. No, so really, I want to emphasize that the work that we are doing is thoughtful. We are not just rushing into what. Everything that you see, we're taking the time, we're taking our time, and we're getting feedback from students, from teachers, from parents, from everyone. And every feature that you see, and Dr. Freed mentioned this, is because an AUHSD teacher wanted it and thought about it and conceptualized it. And I think that's what makes this platform really unifying for our district, and I think for our students. We have an incredible community around our students with incredible work that's happening. I heard things today like that we are getting universal needs assessments, tier support. I had someone said that they couldn't have data readily available. In eCadence, we are creating that ecosystem to where that data is accessible, to where I don't, as a teacher, have to go and find it in multiple platforms. It's just in one ecosystem, saving me time and making me a better teacher and addressing the students' needs in each one of my classes. So when that data is readily accessible, I know things like my students' strengths, my students' interests, my students' needs, and now I'm able to actually start teaching to that. And we know when we're teaching students to what they actually are interested in, we have better outcomes. But the problem is, most of our teachers, we have 100, 150 students. How do you do that? That is a lot of time to go in and differentiate and personalize this instruction for all our kids. It's not realistic. So we really pushed eCadence to create something for us, to give us the tools to do that. And what they did is, and they listened to, is they created this AI app suite. And through that AI app suite, I am able to differentiate my instruction a lot easier. I can go in and say, hey, I know 30% of my third period is super into culinary arts. That can help me frame a lesson around culinary arts. Is it doing the work for me? Absolutely not. Is it helping me think of ideas and saving me time in that creation? It absolutely is. And then Dr. Freed mentioned our transition into the gradebook. And I think this is one of the most pivotal moments that we have that's going to support our students, parents, and teachers. Is now that we are feeding the system the grades, teachers are going to have trajectories where I can go into any one of my grade books and see students who are on an upward trend, and I can meet them at the door and give them a high five, build that culture. I can also see students who might be on a downward trend, and instead of waiting until the end of semester to figure that out, I can get it immediately, that week, so we can have those early interventions to where we are meeting the needs of our students quicker. Other things that we are able to do now with gradebooks and the eCadence system is I can see, okay, well, maybe one of my students is on a downward trend this week, and I have that, we can have those conversations, but I can also now see that, that student has 2 assessments on Friday, has a project due on Thursday in their English class, in their math class. So now that's changing. Hey, maybe I shouldn't make my project due this week. Okay, one of our core values is making education work for students, and this is how we are doing that. We're not trying to overwhelm them. We're trying to create experiences for them to where they're prepared for jobs and college. Also, what this does too is, and Jaren already alluded to this, is everything in the gradebook or everything in eCadence, parents have access to. They see exactly what the student sees, they just can't do the work. Right? And instead of going to Aries and just seeing that letter grade, they can go in and see the assignment that I gave them, see the work that the student completed. So think about the rich conversations that can now happen at home and the support that students and other community members can help with our students where they actually know what's going on. Not just, hey, you got 6 out of 10, my teacher doesn't like me. Things like that. But throughout all this, and I am a teacher, and time is always, on the front of my head, right? It's how do we save teachers time so they can get back to doing what they love to do, and that's just teach kids and get to know kids and build culture and community in the classroom. And all of these things that we're doing is giving teachers back that time. It's instead of me having to be at home and lesson planning, I can be with my 1- and 3-year-old. Now I'm coming to work happier the next day, which then reflects on the students, and then the students are happier. It all compounds on top of each other. And since we are creating this unified platform, it's really just giving the teachers the data and the tools necessary to not just save them time, but to equip them with really powerful lessons to create student experiences for them. So thank you. And then the next who we're going to bring up is an incredible student, D-Raj. Looking sharp, by the way.
Yes, so hello AUHSD District Board. My name's D-Raj Kopu, and this past summer, I actually interned with eCadence's product development team. So today, I just wanted to give my experiences of eCadence as a student and compared to the other learning management systems that we used in the past. So during my 5 or so years in the AUHSD, I've seen the variety of platforms that we used, such as Schoology and Canvas. And by far, I would say eCadence is the best of all 3 of them, and many other students and my friends agree with that. So last year, I noticed a significant difference in my classes depending on whether or not my teachers used eCadence. So like Mr. Sherman said, some teachers are actively using eCadence while others are not. And right now, that's creating a gap between having a full-on atmosphere. But I'd say in terms of eCadence, its main platform fosters communication with teachers, as well as interactions with other students, which I feel is a pretty main factor in any learning management system. In addition to that, while building my e-portfolios and capstone assignments, I primarily used eCadence's e-portfolio feature, and I would say that was a main factor in how I completed my assignments and put all my thoughts effectively into one project. And like they mentioned, eCadence is more than just a gradebook. It's a collective learning atmosphere. Unlike Aries, where parents would only see, for example, your assignment and your grade, on eCadence they can see what you submit, everything you've done, all these assignments, and the topics you learned before that. I'm also really excited about eCadence's new initiative with Scrappy and its push towards integrating AI into its learning management system. I checked around and I think this is the first of any learning management system. It's a great push towards an AI-centric future. So a little bit more about Scrappy. It's a personalized chatbot that understands everything about each individual student. So they'll know what courses they're taking, what grades they got, and what topics they might struggle and succeed in. And based upon that, it can adapt what it teaches the student to be more receptive to that. So in my mind, it's more of a personalized TA for every student in the classroom. So teachers have 150 students. While some teachers may have office hours after school, you really don't have the time to go on that one-on-one mentoring for every student. And that's what Scrappy does. Given the success of other chatbots such as Conmingo, I believe that Scrappy has much more power just because it knows much more about each individual student. And I believe it could revolutionize how education is, moving from the traditional uniform classroom structure that we have now, where one teacher is just teaching to a group of 30 or so students, into where a student could talk with an AI at any time, learn the way they want, and ask questions whenever they want, and get answers that are tailored to them, rather than tailored to a whole class. So I'm really excited to be a part of this future. I tried Scrappy out a few times already, and I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to see it develop in the future.
To follow Dheeraj, thank you. So in closing, we're excited for this transition. Those nudges in Scrappy will not be effective if we're not using the gradebook, which is why we're requiring the gradebook. Now that's going to empower and equip Scrappy and the nudges that we see happening, where they have access to, as Dheeraj said, all the information within the eCadence framework, so they can really begin to know our students and better support them and the teachers who are serving them. So with that, I want to thank you for listening. I'm not sure if you have any questions, but I want to make sure you have the updates in terms of where we are with eCadence and where we're headed. So thank you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Questions, comments?
I have a question. On the gradebook, can each teacher see what's going on in each class for the student?
I'm going to have Tyler speak because I see the principals.
So I can't see exactly what is happening, but I will be able to understand what grades that they have, and then I can go in and impersonate different students. But there are like privacy, like we don't want just every teacher going into other teachers' stuff without permissions. But for I can see through capstones and e-portfolios and things like that a whole host of academics that are happening at the campuses. But I could also just see their grades and things like that.
So yeah, each teacher can see the grades of student in every class.
Mm-hmm.
So can the counselors also see this?
Yeah,
for trend analysis, see if a student is starting to falter in a particular class, find out what's going on with that student?
Yes, so the counselor can see everything. So the counselor can go in like a parent and see the student work, can see teacher comments and so on. And what's really cool is each counselor has their own portal with their caseload that has exactly that, where they can see instantly if a student is dipping and where we're going to go in the future. And very, very soon is even if they're been tardy or they're absent, counselors are going to get those notifications on their dashboard immediately to have early interventions.
So if a student is starting to falter, does this counselor have to go in and request to see that student, or is there a flag automatically popping up?
A flag automatically pops up, and then even within the system, they can book an appointment with their counselor or whoever they want to see.
Okay, thank you.
That's also where the nudges play a big role, right? A counselor, here's a student who's struggling.
You mentioned that our district has been through a few LMSs. Can you speak to how we got started with eCadence?
Yeah, so as you know, through our AIM program, our Anaheim Innovative Mentoring Experience program, right, Meridian Link was one of our partners. They, for lack of better words, they did all the cybersecurity with banks, credit unions. And so we had a partnership with them where we had students who were participating in internships. Well, the CEO, founder of Meridian Link, saw that our district was doing something different than where his students were going to school, and that we were focused on whole child and the 5 C's. And as he had shared with Mike when he was, because he met through the work, right, there's something different about the students at Anaheim Union. Your students are coming with a set of skills that I have to reteach in my UCI, UCLA graduates, right? They're coming in with a lot of tech skills and knowledge, but they're not coming in with the 5 C's, right? So I'm having to retrain, paying them a very hefty salary, how to really have EQ and leadership skills. And so as he was seeing our juniors and seniors really begin to come in with these skills, he then decided, because again, without going to his fiscal situation, he did very well, right? Being the CEO and founder of a company, he decided, I want to create a nonprofit to really help transform education so more districts are transforming like AUHSD, because his own kids were not getting that kind of experience. So he wanted to make sure other students got the similar experience where this whole child approach focused on these skills. And so that's where the relationship began, and that's where, for us, right, as they had to do some work on the front end, but as the platform started to build and the feedback that we were getting from teachers, we began to pilot. And as you may recall, CVA was our first pilot school, the virtual learning. So that was the first school that we piloted, and then it began to expand from there. But that's how the relationship formed.
Thank you. And then you mentioned that it was a lot of teacher feedback assisting in building eCadence. Was that also for Scrappy?
Yeah, so I can have, I know students played a big role, but I think you can speak to the Scrappy evolution.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, every feature that you see within eCadence, it has been very intentional and very thoughtful, and that requires seats at the table, right? So we're talking to parents, we're talking to students, we're talking to teachers, and it's what is it that you need? We always say, it's like a kind of a running joke, because this is how we always ask everything, is what problems are we trying to solve? And that's kind of where we start. But what is really unique about Scrappy, and this I love, is that Scrappy, even the way Scrappy looks to how he behaves, is because of our AIM summer interns. They're the ones who came up with the concept of Scrappy. They're the ones who approached eCadence first about this is what we need. So again, they brought up this first, and then we built it around them with the support of parents and teachers as well.
Thank you.
Scrappy, because of the resilience, like the little puppy who has that grit and that fight, like perseveres through things, but also Scrappy being a cute little puppy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was extremely comprehensive, and I took a lot of notes. Thank you for talking about that. This transformation change is hard, but it's been 4 years. It's not a rush, but when you ask someone to change something that they haven't been doing, then all of a sudden you get that rush. So thank you as a trustee for explaining that part. Talk about when you talked about the differentiated teaching and the availability to do that. Some folks will say, "Well, you're taking my job away." Can you just speak a little bit to that argument?
I will just say the teacher matters. The teacher matters. They're the ones ultimately delivering the lesson, working with the students. So, but I'll have Tyler speak to that piece, but it's not replacing, it's only enhancing and supporting our teachers to do their job more efficiently and more effectively. But Tyler?
Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? I think people, and the way that AI has boomed over the last year and a half, 2 years, I think people think it's a lot further along than it is. It's nowhere close to even considering replacing a teacher. We are still the experts in the room, but what it does do very effectively is it helps with creativity. So I'm talking about differentiated instruction. It's great at giving me ideas. But what it doesn't know everything I know. I've been teaching, this is my 10th year. I know my students. I know good teaching practices. Although we are doing our best to build that back-end structure so it does know our district drivers, it is not anywhere close to replacing us. But what it is doing is it's making me a better teacher, therefore going to help our kids.
Okay, also, and then thank you for talking about getting the teacher input and parent input and student input, but there's still the topic that comes up, and maybe Daraj could talk about this, well, this is going to help students cheat. And that's what I love about Scrappy, because Scrappy will not do that. So can you speak, would you mind coming up and speaking to that aspect? Have you heard people talking about that?
Yes.
Yeah, so like I said, I tested out Scrappy before. I tried to cheat with it. I was testing it out. I would say, give me the answer, please, or else. I would like try to threaten it. I'd be like, I'm gonna fail if you don't do this. But as in one of the screenshots they showed, it kind of redirects the question. It's like, I can't help you with that, but I could show you how to get there and what's the first step you think you should do from here on out. So with Scrappy, I don't think there's that much cheating problems with it just because of the way it was made. It won't let you cheat, pretty much.
All right, thank
People
you.
can still cheat with other AIs, but with that, no AI is perfect either, and there's a lot of ways to catch AI now, but specifically with Scrappy, I don't think there's a way. I tried a lot, and it would not work.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Can you speak, you talked about the way that you can interact with your peers with eCadence. Did I hear you correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
So eCadence has a chat features, and for a few clubs that I'm in, like, for example, when I was in the math team, our teacher put a eCadence group where we were all in, where we talked with each other about questions we had, about the practice tests they gave, and so on. Since I don't think it's allowed for teachers to have like group chats with students. So in that regard, I feel like it's a great way for teachers to communicate with students and students to communicate with each other, since Math Club isn't technically a class that will show up on eCadence, but it's rather an extracurricular group. So in that regard, eCadence could also be there for that aspect, since for many clubs, teachers need to communicate with students, and students need to communicate with each other. And right now we have Remind and like a few other options, but I feel like with eCadence, if we build the groups feature, that's a great way to do that too.
All right. I love it. I love that. Thank you. Bravo. All right. Any other questions?
Well, I can't imagine how excited parents would be to hear about this. I'd like to know the plan to how we're going to roll this out to parents and families.
Perfect. So the first step is a video is going to be sent next week in English and Spanish, just basically acknowledging and making them aware of this change. So that's going to go out. We're going to be working closely with our faces. I know Carlos Hernandez and his team, Araceli Chavez and Kenny Perez, right, working in the way that we help integrate training opportunities for parents. The nice thing is when it was designed in a way where so many parents are on Facebook or social media, and for me, when I've been on it, it feels very natural in the way that I would navigate through it, even through my principal class, because it feels like an experience I've had before, because it was designed with the input of our staff, right? So it doesn't feel clunky, it's very user-friendly, and as it's constantly evolving based on the feedback to make it even more user-friendly. There will be trainings that are going to roll out through our faces and through our sites, so that will be happening. Just like we're doing office hours, we'll do something similar. The app that's being developed, that's going to be pushed out next week when the video goes. And once they're on the app, it's also, because I've been on, it's very user-friendly. It doesn't overwhelm with options. It makes it very easy to do via the phone. Of course, if you're on the computer, you have even more things that you can potentially do because you're on the computer. But a lot of training is going to be done with our parents. But remember, through the lens of the healing and the not wanting to put the stress on the staff to have to do it come the first day when we're making this change. That's why the 5th week is the target for us to have this transition in place. And again, Aries and eCadence already talk. So if a parent goes on Aries, they're still going to see the grade book, but as you heard, it's going to be the more traditional sense where I can see the assignment and I can see the grade. But that's all you can see. Whereas if you go on eCadence, you can see what the assignment actually was, what the student actually submitted, right? You're going to get the announcements and the nudges and all those other things. So that's where we're going to be working with them. So even if they don't change to eCadence right away, they're still going to be able to access it, but we're going to be working with them to make that transition.
Dr. Freed, what does a nudge look like? Because so when parents are being notified and people are being notified, I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah, so as you heard from Mr. Gaudet, it could be that email, like you see this example on the screen here, when a student logs in, let's say they've missed school for a few days, and the first thing the student sees when they log in is, "We miss you," right? And you can see the nudge. Hey, Marty, you've missed period 3, Living Earth, 4 days in a row now. You have an assignment, evolution science project due tomorrow. And unit 4, like, so it's giving these nudges, so the student can't do anything until they see this and they have to acknowledge it. So that's like an example of how the system's being built. And again, emails are going to parents and our students through their emails. So they're getting multiple ways of being interacted with those notes of encouragement, or the hey, don't forget you have kind of messages. So I don't know if there's anything you want to enhance with that.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. But there's multiple ways that it can be viewed. So one of these options here is what you would see like if you logged into eCadence. That is like a more visible nudge. Here is actually our mobile app. So I know it's really small, but up here is like a standard notification that you would get on your phone, right? So if you have the Scrappy app on your phone, you would get that notification like you would a text message. But all of this stuff would also be emailed to you. We're also being very aware that we don't want to flood our parents' inboxes, right? So there's obviously going to be options for them to subscribe or unsubscribe from like the email notifications. You'll be able to identify how you want to be nudged. And I also want to, it's also what I love about nudges, and I just have to say it, it's not just we missed you or you have an assignment you haven't started. It's you just got 10 out of 10, like that was incredible. Like, you just won your baseball game. Way to go. Like, it's very much asset-based, and parents need to know that too, and students need to see that.
And remember, the nudges won't be activated until probably, I think our target is around the 5th week, because we need the gradebook to be populated with their information, which is, again, we're giving the teachers that 5th week, up to the 5th week, to have that transition time.
This is exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. And Tyler, I saw evidence of, how the collaboration with the other teacher leaders wanting to step up, because everybody said, we need an appointment with Tyler the first day. We have an appointment already. We're so lucky, and people were very proud. They wanted to make the change, but also the teacher leaders were stepping up and saying, well, I know that we've got 5 teachers that have already done it and used it, and we can get them to do that. So hopefully you're not burned out on the first day of school. Did you want to speak to that? Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. I will say, have I gotten more emails this last 2 days in my life? Maybe. But what is encouraging is the amount of support that I'm receiving, even just personally, professionally, of like, hey, what do you need? We have 5 C coaches, we have community school coordinators, we have tech coaches, we just have teachers who have been using eCadence for a while. Everyone's stepping up. By no means can one person or even the district office have an initiative like this without a whole collection of work, and that's what's actually really inspiring right now. When we talk about unifying a district, that is what's taking place, and people are stepping up, and it's really encouraging to me, and it's what keeps me doing the work, because it's really nice to hear, like, it just feels nice.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. Mr. Matsuda, did you want to ask a question?
No, I just want to kind of, first of all, thank the team for the presentation, and just a couple summary pieces. The great coach, John Wooden, said you need to go slow to go fast. And I'm really proud of the fact that we resisted temptation to overpromise our community, as some districts have done, in terms of what AI can do. AI, bottom line, is really a tool that augments teaching. I know that there is concern and trepidation out there, and as we heard from Mr. Gaudet, that's exactly what we're using it for. To give teachers feedback, to give students feedback. And I think we're in a good place as long as we put teachers out in front of vetting these amazing tools. I think the second big takeaway is that eCadence is an integrated, firewalled learning platform. It is not a platform that we just duct tape different applications on where you don't know where the student data is going, and I think that's what gets other districts in trouble. And I want to thank our IT, led by Eric, and again, our amazing teachers on the front lines, as well as some of our nonprofit partners, AIEDU, and the teacher leaders, and with some of the district folks creating the state's first AI framework. You know, we created a framework before the state created a framework, and also we're one of the first districts to adopt an AI policy, board policy, both of which we intend to revisit this year, because in a year and a half, we already know it's outdated. So this is something that we are very intentional and strategic, and we're very grateful for our nonprofit partners to be working with us, because they believe in the power of teachers as well. So thank you, team, for that presentation.
Thank you so much. Bravo. All right, moving on to item 9.1, resolution number 2024/25-E-02, Chicana Heritage Month. This is an action item.
Slow moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anyone want to speak on this item?
I just wanted to take a quick minute just to highlight the significance of this resolution, recognizing August as Chicano Heritage Month. It honors the historic contributions of Mexican Americans and the Chicano movement, rooted in empowerment and culture revitalization. And I want to thank staff that took the time to write this resolution, and looking forward to honoring this month and celebrating with our community.
Very well said. Thank you. All right, this is a roll call. Mr. Hoshi?
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Guerrero?
Aye.
Excuse me. And Ms. Randall Trejo, I vote aye. Business Services, 9.2, ratification leaseback agreement, AP Construction Group, Inc., DBA Air Plus, Western High School HVAC Replacements, Phase 2, RFP number 2023-08, action item.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments on this item? Nope. Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Nope.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes. No, aye. Nope, aye.
Okay.
That was an aye.
That was an aye. All right. Moving on. We did already 9.3, 9.4, 9.5. Moving on to 9.6. Oh, I apologize. Oh, no, we have one more to come. Second public hearing, AUHSD Ethnic Studies courses. This is an information item, and I am opening public hearing for anyone who wishes to speak on this item. Okay, seeing none, we will move on. Great work, everyone, on this. All right, 9.7, revised board policy, 91300, parent and family engagement. Second reading, this is an action item. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and we have a speaker on this item, Ms. Jermaine.
Thank you. I will try to speak up. Ms. Smith, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay, Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, as a community member, I applaud the board for its effort to revise the board policy on parent and family engagement. Our parents and families are the most important stakeholders of the school district, and their engagement is critical to the success of our students, and that they're key to keeping our enrollments up. My son attended AUHSD for the past 6 years, and during his 6 years, he had only attended Title I schools. As our superintendent is the head of the district, I think it's critical that they take the lead in implementation of this policy. I'm requesting for verbiage on page 3, section A, items 1 and 2, page 4, item 3.2, and page 6, item 5. Change the word from may to shall. This is a way we'll make sure that these items get done and it's not optional. I'm also requesting that the word as or designate be struck out, as the leader needs to be our superintendent. He needs to lead with our families and parents and families. Also on section A, item 2B, please strike the word or designate, as the principal of each school needs to be trained in the Title I requirements. They need to be the leader on implementing with our families and our parents. This is not something that should be delegated. If you're going to be the leader of the school site, you at least need to make this effort on engagement. Also, for item 3.1A, requires the AUHSD to educate our parents and families on the state's academic content standards as required by Title I. I just love this. In the 6 years my son's been in this district, this never happened. We never had any school site teach our parents about the assessments and how our parents can be partners with the school district in improving our students' success. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing here. This is critical. Also, I love that this document requires school meetings to be held at a variety of times and dates to meet the needs of our families. It's critical to engage our families, our parents and families. We need to get the parents back on campus so they can help our students and support the school system that we have. They need to see our parents and families as an asset and working as partnerships for student success. I'm looking forward to seeing the variety of parents on our school district's committees and working in our school sites and just getting our parents back on our school sites. Thank you very much for making this happen. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Newman. All right, anyone have any questions or comments about this item? Additions or deletions? While I can't speak to information that was just given to us, I think I understand the general ideas of what our speaker had to say. I do believe that it is embedded in that. There's argument when you use certain verbiage, but I think that what will happen is that our district takes in, our staff takes in everything that folks say up the dais, and I think we can there's always ways to do better, and I think that the considerations will be taken without having to add the verbiage. That's just my one person's opinion. I think that we can hear the comments and corrections, but I think the body of this is okay to vote on tonight.
I agree. That was very well said. I think in the comments says what our schools are trying to do with family and community engagement and continue to do that work. And as always, there's room for improvement, but I think we're always headed in the right direction.
Okay, with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, item 9.8, public hearing for independent study, first reading. Anyone wishing to speak on the independent study? Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Item 9.9, quote, brisk teaching, action item.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? Or comments or questions? All right. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
9.10, proposal identity automation, action item.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I just want to comment that 100% cost reduction, we will take that. Thank you. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Great work, you guys. 9.11, order form, Class Technologies, Inc., action item.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
9.12, contract independent psychoeducational assessment, Dr. Alberto Miranda, action item.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments on this item? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
913 agreement, Lucia Petrucci, action item.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Okay, September 4th and 5th. All right. Hopefully, if anyone's available, we'll hope to go see this person. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Consent calendar. Anyone wishing to pull?
1010-0 and 1011, please.
And then if I can pull 10.17.
Okay, give me a second. I wanted to pull. Okay, can I get a motion for the balance?
Boom
So
for the
moved.
bell. Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, 10 and 10:11.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
Aye.
All right, item 10:17.
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Sorry. I just want to highlight the work of Neutral Ground. I know they've been in our district for about a year now, and going on year 2. I was wondering if we could maybe get them to do a presentation and share some of the incredible work they've been doing. I know we heard from one of the speakers at graduation, so we'd love to highlight their work some more and hear from them.
We can certainly work on an upcoming board presentation.
Perfect. Thank you.
I did have a question on this item. I'm glad you pulled it. I'm just wondering, I know we have specialized schools or certain schools that are getting this, but there was a platform in one of the, on the media portion, and I was just wondering, we could have a discussion about having that for every student, maybe as a Zoom meeting in the classrooms or something, just to have a little bit of a discussion about that. Yeah, it was a specialized, it was the media portion, and I'm just kind of asking that. I thought it was pretty important for all of our students to get that training. Okay, we see what that, we can have a discussion about that. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on. Superintendent, staff report.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I want to put a shout out to all of our teachers, admin, classified staff, our parent volunteers for an amazing opening day. I'm sure you're going to hear from some of my colleagues. But what I heard and saw was just a celebration and a welcoming back. A lot of smiling faces and a lot of music, a lot of balloons. It just felt like an atmosphere of welcome and joy, really about spreading the joy of education. And inside the classrooms, seeing that teachers were really building on engaging lessons and activities to get to know the students and getting students to know each other. And from day one, sending the message that AUHSD is a welcoming school, welcoming classes, welcoming adults for all of our kids. So congratulations and kudos to everybody in the field.
So I'd echo what Mr. Matsuda said, but the one thing I'll share as an update is next Thursday, the 15th of August, we have, I think you heard from Mr. Lara about the students who came over the summer and persevered to earn their graduation. We had that happening at all of our high schools. So on next Thursday, the 15th at 6 p.m. at Kennedy, we're going to be celebrating our summer grads who, for whatever reason, struggled a little bit to meet the finish line in May when we had regular graduation. But through the hard work and perseverance, they were able to meet and accomplish their goals and have earned their graduation. So we're going to celebrate them on the 15th of August at Kennedy. So hoping you can join, but if not, we're looking forward to celebrating our students and the great work that they did.
Looking forward to that. Thank you.
Also, just ditto to what Mr. Matsuda said, I just want to wish everybody just a great start to the school year, and we're going to have a great year.
Just want to share a couple of things. So want to thank Western High School football team, Coach Davidson, as well as Assistant Coach Victor Belazar for inviting me to their first football practice on the new turf. So they've been patiently waiting, and it was such a joy to see all the players on the field, and they were so excited. I mean, just to see their excitement, and there's just different things on the field, and just the excitement that you see on those players. I mean, just makes the day like so worth it. So thank you, Western High School football team, for that. Last night, Tuesday night, I attended the National Night Out at the City of Cypress. They put together an amazing event for the community to come and see what the different things are. And so was there with the mayor and the city council, as well as the chief and the city manager of Cypress as well. And I also want to shout out to the City of Cypress, as well as a church across from Oxford. They're now helping us with the parking lot, since we're doing solar now at Oxford Academy. And they have been gracious to let us park our students and as well as our staff's cars at their locations. So thank you so much for the city for making that happen. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you.
Just to build off of what our superintendent just mentioned in regards to the opening of our schools, just a lot of gratitude and kudos to all of those who are responsible for supporting the opening of our schools, our custodial staff for making sure that the grounds and classrooms are all ready to go, our M&O department who was making sure that the place, our gardens and all of our vegetation was well manicured, and just the projects that got done over the summer. Our counseling teams, as mentioned earlier, and all the work they did to balance classes and register students. Our admin teams to prepare with professional learning and welcoming environments, and our teachers, obviously, and classified staff for welcoming all of our new students, our 27,000 plus students and families that are beginning the 24-25 school year. So it's a lot of good energy, as a lot of us who are visiting schools observed and felt, and just a beautiful first day, and we wish all of our schools and all of our families the best this year, and we'll be there right along to be supporting them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hoshi.
Gosh, when I became a board member, I didn't realize how many opportunities I get to participate in. Not have to, I get to. So like Mr. Lara said, a few of us attended the ribbon cutting for the Gilbert Unity Garden and land acknowledgement. And if you saw pictures of this land, it was like weeds, and they transformed this. And I think the thing that was the most touching was there was a community member that came in at the very end, and I invited her to come to a board meeting because she was just bragging how much this meant to her, and how she got food from this and profited from this, as far as she was just so intense about it. And so I said, hey, this is incredible. So we were really happy about that. And students gave tours and presentations. We got to celebrate, a few of us, the AIM graduation for the city of Anaheim at the KPAC, and students completing their internships. Jessica and I, Trustee Guerrero and I, went to the AVID Summer Institute at the Anaheim Convention Center. And then a few of us went to the Mac Farm to Table, created the, oh my goodness, that was just like a 5-star meal for me. So, and they even created their own hot sauce. And so that was really delicious, great. And then I had the opportunity to go to the ASB camp. We have our own AUHSD camp at Cal Poly Pomona with all of our schools, all of our high schools, and I got to connect with some of the kids, and they were really doing the work. It wasn't just like all fun and games. It was like they were really learning about leadership skills. So I was really proud about that, being part of ASB myself. Neutral ground, Jessica, Trustee Guerrero and I, we've become really good friends. Trustee Guerrero and I participated in a presentation to Neutral Ground from Senator Lou Correa, and that was fun. And then got to go to American Legion dinner for the city of Cypress, where 4 of our students were asked to participate in Boy State and one of our Girls in Girl State. And then, let's see, this morning I got to go to my first coffee with the principals at Lexington Junior High School. The room was filled, the media center was filled, and I've made it to about 14 schools to welcome the principals back. And there's so much energy in the air, and everyone is really looking forward to a really successful 24-25. I'm glad to be part of it.
How many students attended the camp?
The camp? Well, there's probably like 30 from each school site, so times that by 11.
How many days is it?
That camp was 3 days. I went 1 day.
Thank you.
I missed out on the dancing though, so I had to go home.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill.
Was that just our district, or was it?
Just our district at Cal Poly Pomona.
Oh, I thought it was just all districts in the area were invited. Yeah, that's great.
He used to participate at UC Santa Barbara with
Yeah.
a ton of schools throughout the state. It was massive. And I think a number of years ago we shifted to hosting our own because we felt it was more meaningful. We were able to control like the things that we wanted our students to engage in, whereas the bigger conference was like they had access to everything. So we made that shift a few years ago, and I think it's been way more meaningful for our students and our activities directors to bond and be more cohesive and collaborative.
That's great. Well, I attended the Leadership Advance, the 2-day, at least part of the days at Kennedy. Always a great opportunity in hearing the initial opening. It was very well done. Thank you. I attended our annual online ethics training, so that's always a wonderful treat. Thank you very much to whoever mandates that. The Mac Farm Dinner was always, that's the second one I've been to. I think we've had 3 so far, and it was fantastic what the students put on. And then the chef from, I think it was Anaheim High School, who did that? Yeah, he did a great job with the chicken. No, not beef, no, it's chicken. I attended the AIM City of Anaheim recognition for their internship also at Kennedy. And yesterday I attended 14 school openings, and today I finished up the balance of 6. And I have to tell you that it was very positive throughout the whole district. There was a couple of minor issues with the air conditioning systems here and there, but I think we had people, Johnny on the spot, working on them, trying to resolve issues. And I'm sure the day before, they all worked. So it's just one of those things that, something happens overnight. Who knows what happened overnight? But anyhow, that's the feel that I got from the students, the excitement on their faces and in their voices, they're talking to their friends. There was just excitement in the air. And going into the classrooms, listening to the teachers, they were doing basically building relationships for the first 3 days. And with academics starting, they said, Monday morning. But during that time, during yesterday, today, and tomorrow, they'll be learning who their friends are, or I shouldn't say learning who they are, but meeting their friends again, building new relationships, and allowing the teachers to get to know who the students are. So that was very important. So I want to also thank the eCadence presentation tonight. Very informative. I would like to go and have that with Tyler again. Yeah, where we have a couple board members hands-on now that we have this behind us, and see where we are and how we progressed. And I'm sure we will continue to progress every year. It'll get better and better. So it's very exciting, I think, especially for the parents to be able to follow better their students, which is going to give us a better end result with the students getting through A through G and getting their graduation requirements completed on time, or maybe more on a timely basis. So thank you so much for that. Look forward to that. So Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back.
Thank you. Well, I have not been available to attend any events, but I wanted to share some thoughts tonight with you. We're here to educate ourselves and parents and students. And my granddaughter just graduated from college at age 23, and this is a really important message. She is now wearing hearing aids because of these apparatuses that kids are putting in their ears. And I asked my daughter-in-law, I'm assuming this is permanent, and she said it's lifelong. And I see people on the street, kids, etc., wearing these earbuds, and I don't think that many people understand how damaging they can be to their hearing and their future. And then I wanted to mention about the Olympics. I've had the joy of watching those, and the biggest joy has been to observe young people from athletes from different parts of the world just show such humility, kindness to other students or athletes, as just genuine global love. And what an example they are for our leaders worldwide. And my question is, do you think the leaders worldwide will be able to emulate this? And lastly, we board members get a report from the school district every Friday. And most importantly, they're on different subjects, and one that really is very thick packet to read and comprehend and put it all together is our construction projects. And there's a lady sitting, is that you, Patty? Lady sitting in our audience, Patty Neely, and I am awed by what you accomplished, the different levels from architecture to construction, management. It's breathtaking. And I think that because the projects are so wide, not everybody could understand the inclusiveness of what those projects came together, much of it from our bonds. And I want to thank you, because it makes our community better. People smile. It keeps our property values up. And schools are a big part of a community. And I just want to thank everybody at this table, because their jobs are harder now than they were when I first came on this board. And the complexities, you heard eCadence tonight as an example. And I just deeply appreciate your continuance of your ethics and your morals and your values and implementing them. So I wish you all a wonderful year. Leadership up here is going to make it perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Ms. Guerrero.
Thank you. I had the opportunity to also attend the AVID one-day district leadership workshop, and I want to thank Diana Fujimoto and the AVID teams for the invitation. I attended along with my colleagues, as mentioned, the ribbon cutting and land acknowledgement for the Gilbert High School Community Unity Garden, whose motto is rooted in unity, blossoming in diversity. And I want to commend Mr. Lara. So when I first started as a board member, I visited all of our campuses and I toured Gilbert High School. And I remember that section being weeds, and he said one day that's going to be a garden. And now look at us, and it's beautiful. The work that the students and staff there that Gilbert High School is doing is remarkable and commendable, so thank you so much. I also attended the AIM City of Anaheim internship closing ceremony. I attended the neutral ground check presentation by Congressman Lou Correa, who secured nearly $1 million to support neutral ground, which will support our district and Santa Ana Unified as well. I participated in the California Latino School Board Association conference. And then this week I had the opportunity to attend Sycamore Junior High School's Fiesta Night, which was 2 days before the first day of school. So parents and students got to come onto campus, get their schedule early, walk around. So it's not so nerve-wracking the first day. And it was a very well-intended event. So thank you to all the staff and teachers that were part of that event. And then yesterday I attended the Chicano Collection art exhibit ribbon cutting with Orange County Supervisor Vicente Sarmiento, who just opened this art exhibit at the Old County Courthouse. Admission is free, and I highly recommend all of you to check it out, especially this month, as it is now recognized as Chicano Heritage Month. So really recommend you all visit. And then I had the opportunity to attend Sycamore Junior High School and Anaheim High School's first day of school. I only got to 2 schools, but I'm sure the feelings all around were the same. We're all happy to be back and excited for the school year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Guerrero. All right. Attended the Friday Leadership Advance, and great conversations within the different classrooms with our teacher leaders, administrators, and counselors collaborating on the opening day of school. And I'm so happy to hear that it was actually very successful. I also want to commend, I mentioned in my last meeting about how schools really don't close during the summer. And as Heather talked about, the classified employees, all that work that has to get done, throughout the summer to make the openings of our schools successful. So I want to acknowledge our classified employees and commend them on that, and I'm sure the HVAC's going to get fixed. All right. I also attended the CSBA virtual ethics training, and actually this is a new law, and it really comes in effect in 2026, and it's for the local officials, whatever you want to call us, school board members and council people, to get trained in ethics. It's very interesting because the higher up you go, they don't have to take this training. I don't know, something wrong about that. But I think, Brian, because as school board members, we're also given the opportunity to get our master's in governance, and so that's always been part of the training, Brown Act and all of that. But this training, we're certified. We're good for 2 years, Mr. O'Neill and I. But it is very important for people to know that the school board members who take advantage of the Masters in Governance classes with the School Board Association is available, and everyone up here has taken advantage of that. We are actually trained. I attended the SELPA ABA Intervention Welcome Back Luncheon to welcome back our ABA interventionists who support all of our district. Ribbon cutting and land acknowledgement, Dr. Laura, just amazing. The students really owned every inch of that garden, and thank you for inviting us. I loved the presentations that the students gave. That was part of the requirement for the students, but they embraced that wholeheartedly, and they were able to teach us. Really, really appreciated that. The Farm to Table Community Dinner was actually sold out, and I pulled a rank and I showed up. I said I didn't call. There was actually I couldn't even pay for it, so I went on and I actually donated my daughter and I's our fee. I said, we paid. Can we just pull up a bench over here? And they allowed us to come and eat. But what I loved about that was the community feel. You actually get a part of making part of the dinner, and it's just a lovely atmosphere. I highly recommend next time that you go. Back to school in service with NPLC sessions across the street for No Crop, and their guest speaker, Hal Williams, talked about AI. So it's coming, and people are interested in it. And we received very good news for our ED conference held in Anaheim this year. I believe 2 of our presentations got accepted, and we will be presenting at the conference this year. So congratulations. And is there anything else? Anyone else missed? All right. Moving on to future meeting dates. We will be here on September 12th. 6 p.m. All right, and any suggested agenda items?
I have one. I would ask Dr. Nian if we may have a concise report on how we prevent something happening to our district that happened to Magnolia. And the question is, that man is now in prison, and the question for the public is, how did that ever happen? Where was the oversight? That kind of money was unbelievable and incredible in a very small district. So I would like a report so the public would know that we have oversight. It will not happen in here, mainly because Dr. Nian is a very competent person in her position. I have great faith in her, but I think the public needs to know, and I want to know, how did that happen? Thank you.
So I can speak a little bit to that, Kathy. Part of our duties as trustees, I serve on No Crop, and I also serve on the GASELPA board. Board members have auditors, and I was involved in a conversation with an auditor for the GASELPA board, and I actually asked the auditor, you know, what kinds of things do you look for? They come in and they do real, skeleton audits, but also board members are part of that oversight. And so we just really got into a conversation, but I just wanted to point out that wasn't Magnolia High School. It was the district. And, you know, it's a very, very upsetting thing to have funding like that because it's public funds. But there is oversight in our district because there's not one person eyeing. And even at the small GASELPA board, when it's a very small crew or staff, the oversight is that you never let one person control a check or a signature. There's always 3 signatures on there. And it was very refreshing to talk to the auditor because the GASELPA board is very small. I mean, like I said, small staff. So I think it would be great to hear one more time, since it's now in the news, and they say Anaheim, it's not Anaheim Union High School District, and it was a very unfortunate travesty that's happened in that district.
Well, my meaning is that I think the public sitting in this audience ought to hear that. You get that privately in a meeting. They pay taxes out here, and they deserve to know what we are doing to keep check on everything. All right. I move we adjourn.
Yes, and I would like to adjourn, and I purposely did not do it at our last meeting, I think because it was so raw and sensitive, but I'd like to adjourn in the name of Linda Lavamaki, our beloved employee of so many years. We loved her dearly, and we will miss her.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everybody.